Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to the videos. Another paid request. This time for Alex. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, commentaries, reviews, video game playthroughs, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal, is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. So this is for One Man's Justice, which in some areas is called One Tough Bastard. Probably thinks that's a better title. I like the title One Man's Justice, but One Tough Bastard has a little bit more ring to it. So this came out in the mid-90s, around 95, 96. And it says it's directed by Kurt Wimmer. Before I understand, Kurt Wimmer, who will go on to direct Equilibrium, which I'm a big fan of. He did Ultraviolet, that wasn't that good. And apparently he did some Children of the Corn movie that came out. It's technically last year now, since we're in 2024. And I guess Kurt Wimmer directed a little bit of this, and then he got fired. I don't think he's ever been known as to what had happened. He got behind. Maybe this just wasn't his field and directed. I don't know. I don't know. That'd probably be the one thing I would ask Brian Bosworth about if I somehow ever met him. Because, you know, Stone Cold, people ask about Stone Cold. It's his best movie. And, of course, yeah, this does star Brian Bosworth, the Boz, the football player, who had a big hype around him. And so he got hired. I forget if it was it the Jets or the Eagles? I forget what football team. But then he didn't really pan out. Because I think within a matter of a few years, the way he behaved outside and off the field, people noticed more than his work on the field. Like on the field, he didn't live up to the hype. And then with some injuries, he kind of got out of football too quick. But at the same time, there's some buzz because of his antics outside, which led to maybe a movie career. So he did Stone Cold, which is great. I love Stone Cold. You got him, you got Lance Henriksen, you got William Forsythe, from the director who had done I Come in Peace and Action Jackson. Fun action movie. I didn't easily Bosworth's best movie. But that film didn't do well, sadly, and then pretty much he went to the direct-to-video market. I would say of the direct-to-video films, this is his best one. Because he did others. He did Mach 2. That was pretty awful. He did one with Dean Cain, Phase 4, which I didn't mind for what it was. It's more Dean Cain's movie. Bosworth, I think he's a bad guy in that. He did a few others that I don't remember much of anything about. I think one was called Blackout. And one was... I don't remember what they were, honestly. But I don't know if I've seen all of them. They did direct-to-video wise. But he did make a living for a few years, and then eventually that panned out. Kind of fell off the wayside. He tried to have a TV show called Lawless. It only lasted a few episodes. I think you can find one of them at least on YouTube. He did a few bit roles. He was in The Longest Yard remake with Adam Sandler. He was one of the guards. He might have done like a few other movies here and there as cameos. I don't know what he does nowadays. I should look that up. But I do like Brian Bosworth. I think for a football player, he actually makes for a pretty good action star. Idea about the Kurt Wimmer. Yeah, that's one of those things. If I could ask one question to Brian Bosworth, it would be that. What happened on that film? What happened to this director Kurt Wimmer, and why was he let go? Was he behind? Was he overwhelmed? Was he, like, did the studio want him to make one movie, but he wanted to make it more artistic or something else to it? So I guess they got a guy named Kurt Anderson, which Kurt Anderson had done a couple of these other action films. I think he did Bounty Tracker with Lorenzo Lamas. He did a couple other films. So mostly Kurt Anderson directed this, but it still says Kurt Wimmer. You just figured it's Kurt. It's Kurt. Fuck the last name. I'm like, well, how little did Kurt Wimmer direct this? Like, if he only directed what amounted to like 10 minutes, like if he didn't direct any of the action scenes, then I don't think his name really deserves to be on there. So I can't say, oh, Kurt Wimmer did a good job if Kurt Anderson did most of the movie. But anyway, maybe we'll never know. But yeah, Brian Bosworth, he plays a drill sergeant. He has a ex-wife. He has a kid. The beginning is him bonding with his kid. Then we see him as a drill sergeant training and showing basic hand-to-hand techniques, which was a fun scene to witness. I mean, Brian Bosworth may not be as smooth as, Van Damme and other martial artists, but I think he was very capable in doing the hand-to-hand techniques. He looked good doing it, and that was a nice plus for the movie. And ultimately, his ex-wife and kid were at this like gas station or something. Sadly, right nearby, there's an arms deal going on where these crooked military guys are selling arms to Jeff Kober. Jeff Kober is one of our villains. He's a good actor. I remember him the most from the first Power. See you around, buddy boy. But he's done a lot of stuff. He was in an episode of The X-Files called Ice. Did great character actor. Another nice plus for this movie. Things go sour. They kill the gas station attendant, played by M.C. Daney. He was one of the cons in Con Air. He was the con flying the plane. No one gives a flying fuck. He gets killed. The ex-wife gets killed. The daughter's hostage. Brian Bosworth is driving by. He sees this. I get that he's in a daze, but it's one of those like, come on, dude. He literally just walks up to it. So of course he gets shot, and he keeps walking up. I'm like, dude, this is not the smartest decision. You're a drill sergeant. You should know something about tactics. Like, you can't employ any amount of tactics on this. It's just, let me walk up. I got shot. I'm going to walk up more. I'm like, come on, dude. I mean, it's kind of badass, but it's kind of stupid either. And then, sadly, it resulted, his daughter pretty much gets killed, and he gets fucked up. Right, we do get to see him kick some ass, which was cool. He disarms one, kicks one, shoots one guy, puts it underneath a guy, unloads into him. Like, that was cool. It was like, yeah, okay, that's badass. But then he gets fucked up. He's put into a coma for 8 weeks. He wakes up. His daughter's in a coma but brain dead, so they have put her off of life support. And he wants his revenge. I'm like, okay, fun bit of action sequence, but goddamn, dude, don't just walk up with the thumb up your ass like, hey, how's it going? Like, what did you expect? Like, what was the perfect outcome? I'll go be frozen in time while you walk up here. Like, but I did it. It's his. He wasn't in the right frame of mind. You just maybe think of it that way, but it's like, God damn it, Boz, what you doing? One of the big pluses with this movie, because I do enjoy this film, I think it's a fun film. It's not as good as Stone Cold, but I do think it's the Boz's second best movie. Bruce Payne, he knew what kind of movie he was doing. He's like, I'm playing a crooked FBI agent. I'm just going to go over the top and see what happens. And that's the thing with, if you go over the top, there's always a danger. Sometimes over the top, it's going to be, this is so fucking stupid, it's annoying, it's irritating. What the fuck is he doing? Or you're a sucker for it and you have a lot of fun with it. It's a 50-50 gamble. This is the side of I was having fun with it because he was having a ball. He's a FBI agent, but as I say, he's crooked. He's trying to get these guns. He goes in this meeting. He got a nose ring. He's got his hair down to here. He's like, hey, how's it going? Ah, you fought Ali, but you don't dance as good. And he shoots a guy. And, oh, you got the gun, but I got guns. And there's a bit where he had like blood on his boot. So he takes the blood out and he licks the blood off his fucking boot. I'm like, what the fuck? Is that part vampire? He was a werewolf in Full Eclipse. I'm like, are you a werewolf in this too? That's another good one, Full Eclipse. Bruce Payne's the villain. You got Mario Van Peebles as the lead. That's a fun movie because it's about dirty cops, but then you find out they're fucking... What? Yeah, they're werewolves. I was going to say, are they vampires? No, they're werewolves. Because Mario Van Peebles fights a werewolf on top of this shipping container. And, like I said, that... And thus Full Eclipse, the moon, full moon, all that. So, that's an entertaining one. That would... I'm trying to remember. Yeah, that doesn't have a Blu-ray. And sadly, that was Anthony Hickox, I believe, who has passed away. That would have been nice to see get a Blu-ray. Full Eclipse. Sadly, you can't interview Anthony Hickox now because he passed away. There's probably some written interviews, but I'm going off tangent. But I'm seeing Bruce Payne. He's having a lot of fucking fun. I mean, there's a bit where he's pretending to be a patrolman, and he's talking to this guy, and it's like, oh, you don't know? It's illegal to drive dead, sir. And he shoots the shit out of the guy. There's a bit where this other guy is in a car, and he gets a gas station, and he gets the pump and lights it on fire. This is how the Webster defines inferno. And he burns the fucking guy in the car. I'm like, Bruce Payne, holy shit, he's so much fun in this. Like, I just don't go over the top. It's a fun. I mean, I appreciate that in this. And at least it makes the film not boring. Because when the action's not around, you gotta have something to entertain. So you got Jeff Kober, you got Bruce Payne, and then Bosworth does a pretty damn decent job. But yeah, Bruce Payne, like, he gets Jeff Kober out of the jail, and Jeff Kober's complaining. So, like, they're buying ice cream, and then Bruce Payne just kissed Jeff Kober in the nuts. So the plot again is typical. It's Brian Bosworth wanting to find out what happened, looking for Jeff Kober, wanting revenge, ass around at tattoo places. You have a fight in a tattoo parlor. Another entertaining scene. He kicks a guy through a window. He beats someone up with a bat. He shoves someone into a wall. A little bit of his football days. Meanwhile, Jeff Kober, he's working for Bruce Payne, but also he's trying to do a deal with this drug guy played by MC Hammer. Yes, here just called Hammer. But it's MC fucking Hammer is in here. Like, right, he's only in like 3 scenes. But it's like, oh shit, MC Hammer. And he's not that bad. I mean, he only has 3 scenes, but even then, he's not that bad. He really isn't. Again, he's like a drug guy. So Jeff Kober has these drugs he needs to sell for Hammer, and gets this errand boy to do it, played by Dewan Guy. I recognize his kid. His character's name is Mighty. It's the kid from Candyman, the original. He's the little kid that warns Virginia Manson about Candyman, and I think he's the one that tells the story about the kid that got fucked up in the bathroom. I think it was him. But yeah, I'm like, oh, it's the little kid from Candyman. That's where I recognize him from. I don't think he does a bad job. I'm kind of 50-50, though, on if you needed this subplot with this kid. I kind of go back and forth. I didn't mind the kid. I thought Bosworth worked well with him. At the same time, there's certain things Brian Bosworth could not do because the kid was there. And maybe that's why. I'll get to that in a few minutes. So you either got Bosworth hanging out with the kid or kicking some ass. Like there's a bit where he talks to these guys and he calls and goes, "I'm gonna need 5 ambulances." And like breaks the guy's neck and he does this like clothesline thing. Now, granted, some people may view that this they would have liked a bit more action in this movie because there's not really any car chases in the movie. There's few amounts of shootouts. There's a bit of a shootout when Bruce Payne is doing that deal, trying to steal this stuff, and some guys come in, and that's where he said, "You got a gun, but I got guns." There's a little bit of shootout there. MC Hammer sends his guys with all these guns, but those guys don't realize they're shooting blanks. So at the baseball field, they're all cops undercover. Put it down. They don't, so they shoot the shit out of them. You don't have a lot, which is funny because the cover of the movie is Bosworth with a gun, but he doesn't really shoot much of any guns. In fact, it's more hand-to-hand techniques. In fact, the most he shoots a gun is when he's looking at these new weapons and he tests it out, and you see how he shoots the shit out of a car. That's like the most he uses a gun in the movie. But the cover is like this. So maybe you look at that cover and you think he's going to be shoot a lot more bad. It's not though. See, it would have been nice to see a bit more body count, a bit more Bosworth kicking some more ass, maybe throwing a car chase or two in there, or like he's on a motorcycle, maybe have a chase in there. But with the actions that are there, they're still entertaining. I see. I do like the hand-to-hand techniques that he does. I think Bosworth, he makes him look fairly legitimate for a guy that came from football. And like I said, I do like Bosworth, and then when he's not on screen, you got Bruce Payne having a ball, you got Jeff Kober. To get more into spoilers, the thing that kind of rubs me the wrong way about it, yeah, well, I'm an action junkie, so I always would like more action. Well, usually. There's a very rare occasion that even I'm like, God, cut it. Like, forget what was that one Transformer movie? I think it was the fourth one, where Mark Wahlberg was first in the franchise. They're in like China, and the action scene felt like it went for an hour. It didn't, but it felt like it. So, but very few and far in between. But usually I'm like, yeah, give me more action. But there's a bit where he goes out to Jeff Kober. Now Jeff Kober killed his wife, shot his daughter, made his daughter brain dead. This is the guy who we want to see Brian Bosworth kick the shit out of, beat up, and kill. He doesn't really beat him up that much. He's ready to kill him, but he sees the kid, so he lets him go. Well, he doesn't let him go. He just caught. To be fair, he just caught, and then they... I'm like, you should have beat the shit out of him and kill his ass, but the little kid was there. So I get what the message of that is. Just as a viewer, wasn't the most satisfying. Maybe if it was like, okay, I'm not doing this for you, I'm doing it for that kid. I'm going to give you the second chance that you never gave my family. And then the guy ruined it, and then no third chances, or something like that. I don't know. Because then what happens is that Bosworth gets arrested, he gets out of jail, he escapes, finds where the kid's at. Bruce Payne, well, Hammer gets shot. Bruce Payne shoots Jeff Kober. And that was kind of... Because they tried to make it where then Bosworth looks at Bruce Payne and goes, he was just a gun that you used. You're the one who killed my family. I guess, but he's still technically the guy who killed your family. Like, he could have said no. He's still the one that shot your wife, and I think Brian Bosworth should have beat the shit out of Jeff Kober and killed him. Maybe there's a second chance in front of the little kid, but then, okay, you ruined that second chance. You're not going to change. Life's a bitch. Time to die. And beat the shit out and killed him. I think that's one of the things I would change. Let Brian Bosworth kill Jeff Kober. The guy killed his wife and pretty much his kid. It's just weird that Bruce Payne then kills him, but... And now Bruce Payne... Now it's up... That was Bosworth versus Bruce Payne, who wasn't even there. So you get a little bit of a fight. Alright, decent choreography. Throws his ass off the roof. Nice free fall using wire work. Nice free fall. Lands to his death on a piano. And things are fine now. He's hanging out with the kid, playing basketball. The movie ends. Didn't mind the score when the end credits start. The score was decent. Overall, it's a fun direct-to-video movie. I didn't think it was boring. Has enough nice little nuggets of hand-to-hand technique action scenes. Plus, I think Bosworth does a good job. I think there's some moments he shows a little bit of genuine emotion. There's definitely some moments where he's a badass. Bruce Payne is having a ball. Jeff Kober, nice to see him in there. Again, I'm not 100% sure if a kid needed to be involved, but at least the kid's not irritating. Bruce Payne has some funny lines in this. And it would have been nice to see maybe those guns used. Like maybe, okay, there's a bunch of bad guys and then Brian Bosworth gets one of those guns and uses it to take care of business. Him being a soldier, drill sergeant and all. But yeah, it's just not the direction they wanted to go with, I guess. Overall, though, I do find this to be an entertaining movie. I still thought it was fun. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.